guys.
Hey.
Hi.
My name is Eva, and I have multiple sclerosis, MS for short. MS is an autoimmune disease that attacks my central nervous system. So basically, my body is attacking my brain, my spinal cords, and all the nerves that they're connected to. But that's not a real big deal, at least not to me. Other people, not so much. But I've gone ahead of myself. Let me start at the beginning of my MS story. The year is 2012. I'm living in Brooklyn, New York, in a very tiny apartment, but I love it. I just finished my third year at Columbia, and I just started a new job. Job's cool, pay is awesome, work environment is really stressful. Have I mentioned that stress exacerbates MS? Yikes. I'm also dating a man who is truly terrible, but he is beautiful and he is charming. But stress! So the whole saga started innocently enough. I woke up one morning and I couldn't really see out my left eye. I was going through a glitter eyeshadow phase, don't judge me, and so I just figured I had some glitter in my eye. So I go about my day, and it's really annoying because I can't see anything, but I just figured, alright, glitter in my eye, it's cool. And then I woke up the next day, and I still can't see. And I'm just like, what the hell? What is this? I'm not wearing my glitter. I'm not sparkling. And so I complained to my friends, and they threatened me with death if I don't go to the doctor. So I take my butt to the doctor, and then he sends me to the optometrist. And they take one look in my eye, and then they huddle together, and they start speaking another language, and they're whispering, so you know it's not good. And they come back, and they say, you need an MRI ASAP. So I'm scared, so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get this MRI. I got it ASAP, I got it the next day. So when my neurologist sees my MRI, he takes one look at it, and he goes, you have optic neuritis, which means that the nerve that helps me see is damaged. And he continues, I think this is MS. And then he goes, I know it sucks because you thought you were healthy when you were coming in here, but you're not. And that's when it kind of fades out for me because I couldn't hear anything. Now, I didn't really know what MS was. I just knew it wasn't good to have it. And he just told me he was sending a nurse to my house and that she was going to give me steroids and that I should come back to see him in 2 weeks. So at that point I do what I always do, which is I cried. I'm a crier. And more accurately, I sobbed. And so I was that girl in the subway, sobbing the ugly cry with my MRI all the way back to Brooklyn. I texted my friends to meet me at my place, and I get there before everyone else. And so what's the first thing you do when you hear you have something? You look it up on the internet. I'm telling you now, that is a very bad idea. One of the first things that I read was that the lifespan of someone who's diagnosed is 30 years after your diagnosis. And I had just turned 30. And so I'm sitting here thinking, have I already lived half my life? I haven't done anything I wanted to do yet. And then I started reading the side effects, or the symptoms, which are fatigue, losing mobility, spasms, cognitive issues, pain, and the big one, incontinence, which means you start peeing on yourself. And nothing is sexier than stopping your foreplay to take off your adult diaper. Goodbye, sex life. I cried some more. But seriously, my biggest fear then, and my biggest fear now, is losing my mind. Not in a, she's really crazy kind of way, but more in the, it's just not going to work anymore. And I've spent my whole life working on my brain. I went to college. I went to an Ivy League school for my master's, and I'm working on my PhD now. When I hear symptoms like losing the ability to process information, learn new information, focus, pay attention, it scares the shit out of me. Like losing the ability to walk, I can handle that because I can still think. Like going blind would suck, but I can still think. Even incontinence, Lord no, incontinence. I'd be me with a diaper, but I'd still be me. The thought of losing my mind, I couldn't handle that. And then to find out that I could have cognitive issues right when I started my dissertation was crushing. Not as soul crushing as actually writing my dissertation, but very close. So my friends come over and they try to comfort me, and they say things like, the doctor's wrong, and and at least it's not cancer, which people say, and I know it's supposed to be, comforting, but the fact of the matter is you can beat cancer. You can't beat MS, there's no cure. I'm always gonna have this. So that night was pretty terrible. It was pretty fucking terrible. My best friend, who I've only seen cry twice in the 17 years I've known her, was a wreck. Everyone was a wreck. And I found myself telling them, it's okay, I'm not dying. And I spent the whole year actually comforting everyone else about my diagnosis. My mom came down from Connecticut in record speed. She drives like 40 miles an hour. Really fast, so it's amazing. And then all my friends left. And that's when the nurse came and she put the catheter in. And I started my day 1 of 4 days of steroids. And then it was just me and my mom. And I plunked out and put it on her to tell everyone else about my diagnoses because I just couldn't deal with everyone's reactions. So shout out to my mom, she's right there. Being my then and always. So in the end, the steroids worked. I could see again. I was not colorblind. I didn't realize I was colorblind, but I was not colorblind anymore. But my body still wasn't working. And so if I got too hot or too upset, I would go blind. My arms would be weak and useless, so I was in a sling all the time. My legs and my feet would hurt. I had hand tremors and eye tremors, and this is super embarrassing, but I even peed in the bed once, and it was totally devastating. The pro is that I always got to sit in the subway, because I look crazy. The con is that everyone thought I was drunk, and I was just acting crazy. But mostly I just scared everybody. Every morning I would wake up and I do what we call the MS check, which is you check your body to see if things are working. Can I see? Does this hurt? Is anything, acting funky or shaking? And so that wasn't fun. And then on top of all of that, my boyfriend performed this really cool magic trick where he totally disappeared. So in a nutshell, it was awful and stressful. And I can't imagine it was easy for anyone to watch me go through that. And so after a few months, my family, who was here, convinced me to move back to Connecticut. And so I gave in, and then I've been back here ever since. So what happened next? I had to start treatment. When I got diagnosed, through 3 options. You take a shot every day, you take a shot every other day, or you take a shot once a week. I wish I was talking about alcohol, talking about needles. And I chose the once-a-week needle, which meant I chose the biggest, thickest, longest needle because it had to go all the way down to my muscle. And it sucked. The first time I took my shot, my best friend and her husband tried to, comfort me through video chat. But what really ended up happening was they watched me sit in my underwear for an hour, counting to 3, willing myself to give myself this shot. And of course I cried a lot, and it sucked, and I hated it. And I want to tell you it got easier, but it didn't. Years later, I met my awesome specialist, who is here, and he introduced me to thinner needles and an alternative from an injector pen, which literally is stabbing medicine into you. And that was a game changer. These days, there are other options. You can take a pill or you can do infusions, but I stick with my needles because no side effects, and I know what I'm getting into. Also, he hooked me up with a medicinal marijuana card. Shout out to Dr. Wade. This may come as a surprise, but actually getting my meds is really difficult. I have to get them through a specialty pharmacist, and every time I change my insurance, it is just a comedy of errors. And I generally go about 2 months without my meds. This current round, I'm going 4 months without my meds. But I'm okay, and I'm used to the insurance company shenanigans. I know I'm at their mercy because my meds cost $6,000 a month. That is a 6 with 3 zeros. So it is either deal with their shenanigans and pay a small copay or pay $1 zillion that I don't have to get this medicine. But seriously, I really would like to get my meds. This is crazy. When I first got diagnosed, I had really bad coping skills. I'm not going to go into them because my mom's here, but they were not ideal. And I was very anti-support groups, and I really was not interested in meeting anyone else that had MS at all. But like most good decisions in my life, my mom made this one for me and sent me to a support group. The first one I went to was a bunch of older black women, and they were just quickly deteriorating, and they were very intent on telling me that I shouldn't have children, even though they all had children and all their children were healthy. It was super weird, and they also were really into the label disabled, which I just could not get into, and I still can't. And so I dropped out of the group. I'm a support group dropout. But the next group I joined was for young people, and it's run by the MS Society. And that group changed the way that I lived my disease. We meet once a month over dinner, so it's not like sitting in a sad little room with coffee. We drink. And we talk about dating or jobs or lives. We talk about normal stuff like normal people. And if someone's new, then we go through our MS stories and what are our symptoms and how did you know, what were your meds. But for the most part, we talk about us. And there's no pity in this group and there's no fear. And I'm thankful that once a month I get to feel normal, because I found with this disease that no one ever forgets that you have MS. So you don't really get that option either. We recently had a new girl who had just been diagnosed, and she's in what I like to call the inspired phase, where she feels that this is a blessing and now she can live her best life and everything's working out. And I had to tell her that we've all been there. You know, when I finally got the correct information about MS, mainly that I wasn't going to die in 30 years, praise him, I took it as an opportunity to do things that I hadn't done before, and for a while I wasn't so scared to live my life, and I wasn't dying now, so I should live. But unfortunately for me, that period was pretty short-lived, and I quickly returned to being my regular self. So I'm sorry that's not inspiring or uplifting, but that is it. 5 years later, I'm still here. I still don't read about MS on the internet, and I don't read books about MS. And that is something that drives my therapist absolutely crazy. It's not that I don't want to know about my disease, but I really just don't want to know more about my disease. Where I'm at in my life, I'm fine with what I have. I've accepted that this is a part of my life, but I can't control it. I'm not ashamed of it, I don't hide it, but I don't let it define me. My life went on just like everyone else's. I have a job I enjoy. I started a small company called Cool and Eat. I have 2 kitties that are on my light. I love my cat so much. I have the support of my awesome family. I have incredible friends. I have great doctors. I have a boyfriend that didn't turn into a cloud of smoke when I told him that I had MS, which was awesome. And my health is pretty good. In fact, I'm doing a 10K or 10-mile bike ride next month for MS. If you want to donate, I will be around all night. I haven't had any major flare-ups in 2 years. I still do my MS check every morning, but for the most part, everything is fine. Life is good. It took a while to get here, but life is good.
Amen.